Good morning, guys. This will be part 2 of the beach shaker molds. Today I've already demolded these, so if you watched part 1, we poured those first, demolded them this morning. I did want to show you a couple things with this. Yesterday, or the first part, I had told you that you don't want it to thicken up too much, because if not, that's when you get bubbles and you don't get a good flow. So I want to show you, this is the first one, and it's perfect. There's no bubbles or anything like that. But this one, look, I don't know if you can see that. I've got one on that side and one on that side. But I'm not too concerned about it, because when we do this one, when we use the UV resin, which will be the last part, we can use that and fill those in. So don't pitch it or anything like that, because it's still usable and it's fine. So today I'll be using, I've already got my puzzle epoxy mixed. I'm not using the 25 today, I'm just using the regular. I am just using a little silicone measuring cup. I'll be using some white Pinata ink and a heat gun. So what I need to do is, the next step is to make some waves. So I want the waves to be on here. And if you look at the shaker mold, it's kind of got a little bit of a duller texture, and I want it to be nice and shiny like this one. So adding this epoxy here will help with that tremendously. The first thing I want to do, I've mixed, how much did I mix? I can't read. Almost 10 milliliters. We won't need that much, but I'm just going to put just a little bit aside. And I'll show you the reasoning for that in a minute. But I always put a little bit of white, and this is what I consider an eraser. And it will help break up your waves when we start on those. So when we do the waves, what I want to do is I want to focus on where I want the main waves, which is going to be right through here between the gold and the light blue. That's where I want to focus on it. You can focus anywhere you want. You can add waves all the way up, whatever works for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour just a little bit in here. I'm not going all the way up. Okay, so I have just a little bit in there, and I'm just going to kind of move it around in here to get all the edges, just like that. So I've got enough good movement. You want enough to where the ink is going to move well, but you don't want it to go all the way up yet. So that's why I only put the ink right there. So I'm just going to do a drop and a drop, and that's it. So then I'm just going to kind of take my tool and I'm just going to kind of move it. Like I said, it doesn't take much, but you'll see why. So then I'm just going to take some clear and I'm just going to drizzle it through. If you can see, it's really breaking that up. It almost erases little spots, but you don't want to pour too much at once. And as you can see, we've got our waves consistency that I like. And actually, you know what? I don't know if you can see this, but we've got a nice depth feature going on right now. And I don't think I'm going to honestly add any heat to this. Now, this is where the fun comes in. So I want to keep this about at this angle because I like the flow. So I'm going to find a little something right here, just a little piece of shelf liner. And I don't want it very thick because I don't want it to move up any more than it is. So I'm just going to find the right level, which just a piece of shelf liner, and that's going to keep that flow. That's going to keep that angle so my waves don't go up any higher. So, and then I'll just take a little bit of clear and I'm going to finish adding some clear to the back here so it's nice and shiny. I have a nice even coat. And that is how we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this one again. Like I said, ignore the bubbles. We will work on that in a little bit. So I'm just pouring just a little bit in. And I only use 2 drops of ink. It doesn't take much. The more epoxy you put in here, the more movement you're going to get. Now, like I said, you can take waves all the way up if you want. I don't, just because I don't, but you can do whatever you want. So we're going to do a drop of ink, and then we're just going to swirl. You don't want it to swirl it to where it's going to, let's say, blend and make it milky. You want this effect. Like that's like a perfect effect right there. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my white and I'm just going to play around a little bit. And I really like the effect I'm getting on this one, so I'm not going to mess with it too much more. I'm going to move this one over so it's at an angle still, and I'm going to bring this up. So there. So this is doing your epoxy on the bottom half first is preventing the alcohol ink from spreading all the way up. Okay, so you can kind of tilt it a little bit, move it around however you see fit. So then I'm going to go ahead and do my angle, and then we're going to add just a little bit of clear epoxy up here. This is already shiny, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more just because why not, right? I guess we could totally play with this one and add another wave up here. So if I wanted to add another wave, I'm not going to touch that white very much yet because I don't want it to blend yet. That makes sense. So this time what I'm going to do, if I don't want very much, I'm going to just drip it right onto my spoon like that. And then I'm going to tap it onto a paper towel to get a bunch of the excess off. And then we'll just do a little wave right there. Wipe that off and move it. Just like that. So now we've got just a little bit of a wave, not too much, but just to add some more. And then I come in with my clear, and that will help move things. I've got it at an angle, so this doesn't move any further up. Sorry, my stomach. I'm a little hungry. And that is part 2. I could add heat if I wanted to. That's why I always have my heat gun out, just in case I decide I want to add some heat. But I think I like the way this movement is, to be honest. So I'm not going to add any heat. So I am going to, like I said, you want these at a little bit of an angle. It's okay that it pulls up down here because it's a shaker. It's going to be okay. So I'm going to let these sit. I am going to spray, not with alcohol. So I'm going to add just a touch of heat to pop any bubbles. and just kind of play with it and see what you like. As you can see, I need to make it a little bit higher on this side just because I don't like how much it's moving up. So what I'm going to do, and this is just part of playing around and just figuring out what you have to work with. Maybe just go like that. And I'm just gonna leave them. I'm gonna let them sit, I'm gonna let them dry, and then we will work on the step 3 once these are cured, guys. So I hope everyone has a safe 4th of July weekend. My next and final one will do some type of contest or giveaway. So let me know under the original post if you're watching these, if these are helpful, and if so, just give me a shout out, and then like I said, the next one we will do a fun little giveaway. So have a good one, guys. Bye.